Missouri lawmakers discuss GOP-led psychedelics therapy and decriminalization bill in committee. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is, one, because I love drugs, and then two, because this is in Missouri, and three, it's GOP-led. So, in my opinion, if the Republicans want to be the ones that take advantage, let them. Let them. A Missouri House committee on Monday held a hearing on a GOP-led bill to legalize a wide range of psychedelics for therapeutic use at designated care facilities. Now that's one thing, that in and of itself is pretty good. But then also, while further decriminalizing low-level possessions in general, that's the important part. Members of the House Health and Mental Health Policy Committee took testimony from researchers who spoke to the therapeutic potential of psychedelics like psilocybin, DMT, mescaline, and ibogaine. The panel also heard from military veterans and law enforcement professionals who backed the reform, while the Missouri State Medical Association testified in opposition. So fuck the Missouri, whatever the state, whatever, fuck them. But also, again, if military veterans and law enforcement are I'm in. Let's get it. Call them up. If you live in Missouri, call them up and say you support the goddamn bill. This is good. Rep. Tony Lavasco R. is sponsoring the legislation, which was filed earlier this month, and would provide patients with certain serious conditions like treatment-resistant depression, PTSD, and terminal illnesses access to various psychedelic substances. Lavasco told fellow lawmakers that these types of products are specifically helpful for those maladies, as well as anxiety and a few other types of conditions. Generally speaking, if something is provided to you legally for the purposes of medicine, you probably shouldn't be prosecuted for that, he said, adding that states like Oregon and Oklahoma had recently moved to reform their laws around psychedelics, either at the ballot or legislatively. Now, again, Oregon decriminalized all drugs and also, is putting, studies and money into, stuff like psilocybin therapy and all that kind of stuff. And that's why it's important to get the ball rolling. So when one state does something, again, look what happened with weed, right? Some states start to say, hey, maybe we should legalize this. And now look, more than half the country has done some form of legalization, right? So this is big. Let's keep going. Again, Missouri is not a state you typically would hear in this kind of conversation. This is not exactly a new idea, but the concept of using these compounds, psilocybin specifically, is becoming more and more researched in past years. This isn't a recreational program that allows people to be using these substances, though it should be, let's be real. Part of the purpose of this bill is simply to provide an expansion to Missouri's current right to try laws and statutes that allow folks that have debilitating conditions to have the option to have alternative treatment. Patients would only be able to access the treatment option at certified health facilities, those providing hospice care, residential care facilities, or the patient or caregiver's residence. I have to say, extreme blah, blah, blah. The bill would also provide legal protections from prosecution for doctors who make recommendations for natural medicine to an eligible patient. The text states that no state agency or regulatory board shall revoke, fail to renew, or take any action against the physician's license based solely on the physician's recommendation to an eligible patient regarding treatment with natural medicine. So basically, right, this is an interesting one because the way I read this, right, this might set up a situation where you've got how medical marijuana would work. You go in and the doctor's stoned and it's like, yeah, whatever, you want a prescription, and then they would give you one. It seems like that's the kind of thing that would be possible with this language. I'm just saying. And that's a good thing. That's what you want. That's the ideal scenario. The bill would also provide... Okay. Rep. Patty Lewis D. said at Monday's hearing that she finds the issue fascinating, believes that our higher power put everything on this earth for a reason. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. This is one other natural substance that can help so many people struggling with all kinds of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, some other members expressed concerns. Yeah, fuck the concerns. So again, there you go. This is big stuff. It's happening all around the country, and I'm happy to be here for it. So, I'm pro mushroom, and I'm pro the other stuff, and I'm anti DEA. I'm anti crime. Well, I'm pro crime in the sense that You know, if drugs are crime, I'm in favor of drugs, so I'm in favor of crime. But I'm anti-crime in the sense that they shouldn't be crime, and you should just be allowed to do that. And so anyway, there you go. Big stuff. Big.